And it's time to take a look at one of the hives that I think is weak. And it could be that we've got a poorly mated queen in here. And if it's a poorly mated queen, there's not going to be enough brood to be reared in order to sustain the winter cluster. So we have to make a decision as to what we're going to do with this hive. So I'm going to open it up today and see if we've got an active queen that's kind of picking up speed a little bit. If not, we'll have to probably squish this queen and do something with the remaining bees. So let's take a look inside and see what we see. Before I open it, I just want to show the notes that I've taken on this particular colony. This queen hatched around July, and by July 6th she was laying, and I just put a note on there that she was going slow, but it was okay. And then I came back on July 28th, and she was still going slow, so I thought, well, I'll add a frame brood and see if things pick up. Now that was the end of July. Then I come back September 1st. I recommended to myself that I feed this colony, but it was still going slow. It was okay, but it was going slow. And then I came back on September 13th, and in my opinion, it was going way too slow, and I'm questioning whether the queen was a poor layer. So that's what I'm going to open the lid and find out now. If she is a poor layer, then it would be better to squish her and add these bees to another colony. So let's find out. Well, not much activity. There's some bees walking around on the underside of the feeder. So we'll put that in front of the hive right here. They don't seem like they're in a bad mood or anything, but I'm just going to give a light smoke. Because it only takes one to sound the alarm. Give them a little smoke there. Alright. Now I do see more bees than I saw the last time, just from what I see in the front, so that's good. And this is strictly a honey super here. I'm going to get down lower to that brood nest and see what she's got. See if things are picking up. I'm still not overly thrilled with what I'm looking at. Let's see what we can see. What I need to see is some brood. Got to have some brood in different stages. And I don't see much of anything happening here. I don't know if you can see on that, but there's really not too much happening there. So we'll set that here. And let's just see if we do see a frame with our queen. And I do not see any brood on this one. I got just a tiny amount of honey. It's mostly an empty frame. I got our beetle trap here. Let's look at the next one. Alright, there's our queen bee. And she just is not laying. Our queen bee is on this frame, but I do not see a single egg anywhere. Unfortunately. So, if she's not laying, even if you have a queen, if she's not laying, she's not going to do you any good. I'm just going to check one other frame and see if there's eggs. Because eggs is what you got to have if you want more bees. I do not see any eggs. Yeah, and just as I suspect, she's just probably a poorly mated queen. So unfortunately that does happen from time to time. So I'm going to have to squish her and just help these bees find a new colony. We'll relocate them, but the queen's got to go. We're going to shake her off first, and there she goes. And that's the end of the queen. Alright. I hate to do that, but for the sake of the colony, what's left of it, there's probably, in this particular box, I think we can fit all these bees in a coffee cup. and that's not enough to get through the winter. So they're going to die if I don't do something. And it's not the time of year where they're going to favor trying to requeen themselves. And with this queen not even laying eggs, they don't even have an option to do that. So they're going to discover they're queenless here in just a few minutes now. And then they're going to start making, well, they won't be making anything, but what they're going to start doing is going into a little bit of a panic because there's no queen. And that's what we want, because then it'll be easy to move them to a hive that has a queen. So in about 2-3 hours time, we can come back here and relocate these bees to a hive that has a queen. And that's pretty easy to do, but we'll just put this back together for the time being. So there's our Squish queen. There's no sense in having the colony, everyone in the colony die. So I'll give them about an hour or two, and then they'll realize that there is no queen, and then I'll shake these bees into another colony, and they'll be pretty excited about that. I could even wait till tomorrow to do it. But just to show, you know, what you sometimes, the kind of decisions you got to make. And one thing I will say is it's easier to have several colonies of bees, because then you have a way to compare who's strong and who's weak. And even as a visual inspection, you can see on the front of this hive, for example, they're actually bearding up a little bit at the bottom. And it's October. So they're harvesting the goldenrod. And just on the outside of the hives, a lot of times you can get a quick visual inspection without opening it and kind of get a gauge as to how they're doing. So just a little tip there for you. So we'll come back to this one either later today or tomorrow, and we'll shake those bees into another colony and let them boost a colony. So maybe what we'll do is we'll look around the yard and see who could use a little boost, another coffee cup worth of bees. I just want to show you the next door neighbor to that weak colony. I mean, this is what a nuke should look like this time of the year. So I'm going to bring this up. This is just a honey frame, but see all the bees on it? You should have a lot of bees. You should have a lot of honey. So I think we had about this many bees in the entire box next door. So they're pretty happy. It's a nice day. It was raining for almost 2 weeks straight. So these bees are doubling up on their efforts to harvest. So we'll give them that back. Look over here. That's my sugar bottle. I have sugar spray in there. There's bees. They can smell the sugar, and there must be just a little bit on it, and they are looking for it. They'd like to get that sugar out of that bottle. They'd like it if I gave them a little spray of it right now. Here we have a nice cluster of bees. I didn't smoke them yet, but there's a nice cluster you see right above here. And man, I'll tell you, this hive is packed. They've got a lot of bees in here, and that's good. That's what we want to see for winter time. That's what's going to help them survive, their numbers. So when they build up their numbers like that, that's what's going to give them a good cluster for heat. So I'm just going to give them a light smoke. I just want to be able to get my fingers on these frames. Here it comes. Nice and easy. If you go easy, you don't hurt anybody. If you don't hurt the bees and squish them, there's nothing for them to get excited about. So there's a frame that's filled with honey. A lot of bees on that too. That's good. I like seeing a lot of bees. Make sure it's getting heavy. And sure enough, yeah, this one has got probably about a quart and a little more filled with honey. That's a good heavy frame. A lot of bees. These guys are doing awesome. All right. They're looking good. So when you put it back together, you kind of have to go easy too. Come on, get out of the way. I don't like to squish bees. And even as careful as I am, I still sometimes will squish one or two. It's hard to not do it sometimes. But I find that me and the bees have a good relationship for the most part. They tolerate me coming in to take a look and see how things are going, and as long as I go nice and easy. And see, when I set this frame in there, I'm going to move it like this. Little seesaw motion, about this much. And sometimes I'll just move it like that. So as I put it in, I don't just slide it down. I just do a little seesaw motion. And any bees that don't quite have enough room, it gives them a chance to get out of the way. See that? And you just kind of take her down nice and slow. And there you go. Now that is true, it's going to take longer to do an inspection this way. But if you only got a few, it's not so bad. Plus, I don't like to suit up. I don't like wearing bee suits. If I have a pair of shorts and a t-shirt on, that's my bee suit for the day. Now, if you're going to squish bees, I suggest you wear a bee suit and gloves and all that good stuff. A lot of bees still running around underneath the feeder. They're doing real good. Just ease the feeder back on too. So when you put your feeder on, you don't just slam it down, you just kind of work it a little bit like this. Any bees that are in the way can move. And a lot of times you can get through an inspection without hurting anybody. And like I say, the next time you come by, they'll tolerate you. There we go.